Hey, what's up, Diamonds? It's your boy Doc Reid out here one more again. So it looks like we got a theme going on, and we're going to continue along this path, I guess, until the Holy Spirit says differently. But the responses that I'm getting from all of you are letting me know that this is a problem. Excuse me, y'all. I just got finished working out, so your boy hot. But before we get into that, ladies, okay, so if you're new to Doc Reid, you have to start here. Okay, go to my website, christopherreid.org, and get this free book, The Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, What Your Father Didn't Tell You and Your Mother Didn't Know. And the subtitle says it all: what your father didn't tell you and your mother, she just did not know. I can't tell you how many times I hear from the Diamonds that, either my dad wasn't there or my dad was a provider. He didn't have these conversations with me. I felt totally ill prepared when I came out here and started dating. And that was a big motivator for this book. And my mom, she had been in, difficult relationships, and she didn't know. And so you're just kind of out here just wondering. So go get this free book. You can get the PDF or the Kindle version. So there's that. So ladies, Diamonds, y'all missed, if you're not a part of my Facebook group, y'all probably missed the best interview yet. With one of the guys. Those are my Heart of a Man interviews, where I really take you really deep inside of the heart of a man, so that y'all can get a sneak peek of what you normally don't get. So I can always, well, just to give you a little background on this one of our diamonds in the Diamond Mine, she's one of my group coaching clients, and she's in the Facebook group. She is, has recently gotten into this committed exclusive relationship with a great guy. His name is Michael, and that's who I interviewed. So we're getting to see all this unfold right before our eyes. So here's a little bit of the interview that I did last Friday.
Oh, I have to tell you about, I'm sorry. I have to tell you about that night after Cocoa Beach.
Mm-hmm.
We went to B&B's Jazz Club, and I was about to blow it off. I had reservations, but she said she didn't want to do anything big. So we dressed kind of casual, and I said, well, let's at least go there and eat dinner. They had a band there they were covering oldies.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a really good time. And again, the waitress came up and was asking us, are you guys married? I said, no, we met 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, physically met 2 days ago. And she's like, I never would have got that. I said, no, this is actually our first date. And so the band was doing, birthday shouts. And then the lead singer stopped and said, and the place is packed. Lead singer stopped and said, where's Dorita? Where's Dorita and Michael? And I raised my hand, and he said, you guys look over there. Those two people right there, they're here tonight celebrating their first date. And everybody in the club started clapping.
You're killing us right now, brother. Our hearts are just melting right now. You're killing us. Keep it coming.
Well, there was a couple sitting next to us on the next table, and they turned around and they said, we thought you guys were married.
Mm.
And so anyway, we went back to the hotel. Next morning, we're in the terminal. We have breakfast in the terminal. I walk her to her gate, and she let me put my arm around her. And we walked that way to her gate, and we just stood there like that the whole time. I mean, it was like we were in high school or something. But we just stood there like that the entire time. She didn't want to go. I didn't want her to go. They called her zone. She's like, I got a seat. They're not going to take my seat. I don't have to go with my zone. So she was the last person to get on the plane.
Golly, this is good. Okay, so if you are not yet a member of the Facebook group, where's my prop? Then you're messing up. You really are. You're messing up big time. You can join for just 1 penny. Okay, that's 30 days for 1 cent. If if you say you want to change and all that wonderful stuff, and if a penny is too much, then I think that you're probably cool right where you are. All right, so listen, let's transition into what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about the covert narcissist. Yeah, narcissist. I tell you, ladies, boy, all around the world. I don't care if it's from the UK, if it's Africa, Russia. I get hit up from all around the world about this one thing, the narcissist. Okay, so with the covert narcissist, they're different than the more extroverted type of narcissists. They're not like grandiose and big and talking about work in the room and all of that kind of stuff. They're quite the opposite. If you ever been involved with one of them, much more subtle, but it's all in their attitude. Okay, if you didn't know, just from the outside looking in, you would not know that there was any narcissism going on. You would probably think quite the contrary. And if you've ever been involved with this type of narcissist in a relationship, you know how that goes. So they're not grandiose at all, but for them, a lot of them are more pious, I would say. They got the moral high ground. All right, the superiority complex that is true for pretty much all narcissists to some degree. But there's the motivation for theirs is maybe a little bit different. So I think of them as like being Pharisees. All right. So if you think about in the scriptures and, when it talked about certain Pharisees, how they had this very pious and they looked down their nose at, everybody, and one of the stories in scripture that really, to me, lends itself to this is when the Pharisee and then the publican go to the temple. And then the Pharisee basically says, I thank God that I'm not like this publican. I pay my tithes and I do all these things. Okay. But yet, I mean, you think about the imagery here. You are at the altar. Okay. You're in the temple. You're at a place where you come lay all your stuff out. But your attitude is one of how awesome you are. Okay. What are you here for? I mean, first of all, what do you want me to do? I mean, I'm saying God's attitude, maybe. I mean, what do you want me to do? Oh, okay. You want me to tell you, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Okay, great. All right. So with the publican, basically, the story says, the publican didn't even feel like he could lift his head up, because of the guilt and the shame and just feeling, unworthy, unlovable. And scripture says that the publican went away more righteous or justified than the Pharisee. And so to me, that is a great illustration of this attitude, this superiority. So when you look at the covert narcissists, like I said, they have this attitude. If you have conversations with them, and it might not be really necessarily like loud and like over the top, but it's like I think I'm not selfish. These people they kind of this and that. These people, I don't know who these people are. They're lazy, they're thieves. Basically, what they're just saying is I'm not that. A lot of time in their nonverbal cues, some of them, because some of them are a little socially weird, with people. They may not make real direct eye contact with you. Okay. They may, when you're talking about certain things that they personally don't agree with, they're not necessarily just going to give you a piece of their mind directly and say, I don't agree with that. I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree with it. I mean, because first of all, you come in here and not typically going to do that. Not the covert narcissist. They'll roll their eyes, or they have very, very little patience. Saturday Night Live used to have this skit. And if you've seen it, it's called The Computer Guy. And sometimes people in the IT world are considered to be a little condescending. They come in there with their white dress shirt with short sleeves, the whole, geek squad look, little black tie, and you tell them you have a problem. They're like, okay, scoot over, please. And you're like, I mean, you mad because my computer broke? I didn't break it. And it's the assumption is you're an idiot. They're not. Okay. But they're not necessarily yelling at you per se. You can see it all in their body language. Okay. And this is, what you deal with them even in relationships. All right. But I'm just going through and just kind of giving you the characteristics. Or the thought is, I really, the belief system, I'm more superior. Okay. Than whoever I'm talking to. They feel like they're so intelligent. It makes me think of somebody. I don't want to give too much detail, but he was always, no one seemed to be on his level. Okay, he was always misunderstood. Everybody else on his job was stupid. He had a very condescending attitude, very sarcastic. Like I said, a lot of them aren't necessarily very direct, very socially awkward a lot of times. And for him, I know his particular story, he grew up, he had a very horrific, upbringing. His people typically don't just come out the womb like this. There's something, excuse me, that happens that creates this. For him, it was, because he had a particular condition that when he was a child, his parents, with his mom, I think, said, "I wish you would die. What's wrong with you?" And the brother was hailed and wonderful, and his sister, I think he might have had a sister, and so he was the one misfit in the family. So for him, even though the family beat him up, when he had to have something within himself where he created this fantasy world. And that's oftentimes what the covert narcissist does. They create this fantasy world where they're amazing, they're awesome, but then there's also this sense of this internal conflict. Okay, because with it, well, let me say this for him. So he, like I said, grew up in this horrible childhood and whatnot. So that led to him growing up feeling like there's something he had to do to build up his own ego, own esteem. All right. But like I said, a lot of the covert narcissists, there's a lot of internal conflict for a lot of them, because pride is bad. You're not supposed to, so for the Pharisee, they're not going to just outwardly admit that they're full of pride. But what they do is justified by rules. There are no better rules to hide behind than scriptures, right? Say that, I'm not saying that this is what God said. And a lot of you know that if you, you in church or whatever, you meet a guy who's a minister or, pastor, whatever, they may be really guilty of this. Whereas it's not me trying to do it, it's thus saith the Lord. And so with the rules, they say a lot of things like always, should, you must do this, because which these things are associated with being a perfectionist. They drive you, and it's so hard, and there's no real pleasing them. They'll say things like, if people would just pay attention, like, how long must I suffer you kind of attitude. They got this sense of false humility. They'll do things like, they'll tell you, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, on the sly, they'll say little things like, I mean, my nonprofit organization, for example, I mean, we donated $3 million, but we're not here to talk about that. Let's talk about you and what's, I didn't ask you how much you donated. You know what I'm saying? Give your alms in secret. That's some scripture says something about that, right? But they have to let you know what they've done in a very, very covert way. All right. So because to them, like I said, bragging is wrong. And they would never tell you, all the things that they've done for you. I mean, I don't really have to say it, but I mean, like last week when, I bought you the $500 bracelet. I mean, and it's not about the bracelet. You know what I mean? It's like, who cares about the bracelet? But what I'm saying, why'd you bring it up? You know what I mean? I mean, when your mom needed the what did we give her? We gave her like $3,000, and your brother's car broke down. I did that. But first of all, it ain't even about all of that, and it's not about what I did. But why'd you bring it up? You didn't bring it up, so it's not about that. Why are we talking about it? So they do these little covert things. Okay. That's the false humility we talking about, because they view themselves as very unappreciated. Like I said, the praise that they, because in their minds, you got to understand, in their minds, they oftentimes are never acknowledged really fully for how awesome they are in their head. Okay. And any time that they do get praised, it doesn't equate to what they feel that they've done. Okay, so there's always some frustration there, if they feel like they get it at all. But at the same time, they would never really fully ask for it, and may even go as far as to like act like they don't want it. Like, no, you get it. Oh my God, it's crazy, or make it feel like they're uncomfortable with it. Or they might even praise somebody else or acknowledge somebody else for getting what they want while they secretly hate on them. And a lot of them fall very short of their potential. Like for the praise and the accolades that they think that they deserve, you look at their life and they're kind of like, they're not ascending to that at all. They make it be a little awkward. Like they kind of, they're okay, but it's never as big as what they make it to seem in their mind. And so in relationships, what they tend to do is with you, they tend to make you feel very guilty about things because, like I said, they're the ones who taking the moral high ground on everything. They're the ones who everybody else is wrong, nobody gets them, and they're God's messenger somehow, the messenger for morality. And, if you've been around them or relationship with them, you can feel like you're a bad person. I mean, really, you can feel like you're not godly. You can feel like you are a sinner. I mean, look at wow. I mean, I'm just saying, but for me, women who dress like that, like they really are trying to, I mean, hookers dress like that, I mean, women of the night, and I just don't know why, but so that's a dig. So you say I look like I dress like a hooker is I mean, that's really the inference. And you take this over and over and over and over. And like I said, they can position it like not those who have this pharisaical mindset, like it's not coming from them, and you can feel like you're very bad, like God's mad at you, like God wants to punish you, because if this is a minister or somebody in that capacity, who's taking these digs at you, then you feel like, well, they know from God and they know this, and they position it like, I'm really trying to help you. I only do this because I care about you, you know. But there's no love, there's no real empathy. There's no let me help you with this. There's only judgment. There's only criticism, continually. So my thing is, if you've ever been involved with this type of narcissist, the only thing is, with any other narcissist, you got to get out. I mean, if they don't want to get help, you got to get out of this situation. I mean, period, point blank, the end. And because they like many other narcissists, they'll make you think they're losing it. But I think when a person makes you feel just inherently a bad person, when a person can make you feel like God doesn't love you because you are, that's like, it's a short list, right, to be on. That's really damaging to your core, so you need to get out of that situation, like, at all costs. And if you have kids, you don't want them to have to be exposed to this as well. So my thing for a lot of you, you listen to the videos and whatnot, but some of you, y'all haven't made the changes. Like, I come out here and I say that, get at me for a free 30-minute consultation or whatever, and you're in these situations and you don't reach out, or you do reach out and you decide, I don't know. And so you're like, well, maybe it's bad timing, or my money ain't right, or I'm okay, it's not that bad. Well, bad timing. When is it really bad timing to get help that you need? Because at the end of the day, some of you just haven't been in enough pain. And I know that doesn't sound good, but really, because like with me, I wanted to lose some weight, but I was steadily stuffing my face with Hershey bars and Twizzlers and all this kind. I didn't want to lose weight. I mean, I had that, kind of desire, but now I didn't really want to, because when I really wanted to, I would get off my behind and put the snacks down and would have done something. So it wasn't until I really wanted to do that did I not have sweets at all. It wasn't even a temptation once I made my mind up. So for some of you, this is to let you know, because you may feel like, well, I keep meeting the same thing, the same people, the same situation, same type of narcissist. Is because you haven't really hit rock bottom. The pain hasn't been enough. It feels bad. It does feel bad, but it's not bad enough for you to change. So when your situation is not bad enough for you to change, anything is enough of an excuse not to change. So for some of you say, well, it's too much money. I don't know about the coach. It's 1 penny. I'm giving you an opportunity for 1 penny from my Facebook group coaching. Every day women are talking about how it's changing their lives. But, if you say it's too much money, you don't want to change. You're not ready to change. Timing. I don't know. When is it a good time? When is it a bad time not to be in pain? And the reason I'm telling you this, because if you're not honest with anybody else, you need to be honest with yourself. These narcissists and all these people out here, they're out here waiting for you. They would love to take advantage of you. They would love to take you through all these changes if you would let them. So at some point, you can't blame them anymore for being who and what they are. You have to look at yourself and say, why am I choosing this? Why do I want to continue to do this and go along this path? Because part of my responsibility is to be honest with you. And so, hey, but like I said, get at me if you want to help. If you don't, still look at the free videos. It's only going to take you so far. It creates some awareness, but it might not necessarily create the necessarily change that you need. But listen, I got to get off here. Actually, I have a coaching call that I'm about to get on right now in about a minute. So, hey, y'all have a good one. Y'all take care, and make sure you stay away from those sneaky, covert narcissists. God bless, ladies. Peace.